Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video today. In this one, we're doing a full spoilery review of Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 18, which is titled Find Me. Overall, I gotta say I really enjoyed this episode a lot, especially more than the last one, Episode 17, because in this one, I feel like we didn't really know what was gonna happen. There was a lot of teasers around it, and just things that we were all speculating about, everything that involved Daryl searching for Rick, and everything that Daryl had to deal with for those 6 years that we didn't see in the middle of Season 9. So it was good to fill in those blanks a little bit, and trust me, with all the time jumps that we got in this episode, they really did fill in the blanks, that's for sure. In this episode, we got to see how Daryl found his dog, we got to see what he was doing to find Rick, and essentially what his mental state was like after Rick disappeared, especially after being out there for 2 full years after the bridge explosion, and just seeing how he was coping with everything before he ended up finding that woman that we've been seeing in the trailers. Her name is Leah. Now, come to find out, Daryl's dog was actually Leah's dog, and this was actually teased earlier on in the season because at one point, Carol does say her dog to Daryl, and I actually remember this happening, and I was a little confused when she said it, but I figured maybe it was just some type of mistake or something. But it's also important to remember they never really make mistakes like that, so it was obviously for a reason, and we finally got to see that in this episode. So it turns out that Leah was a love interest for Daryl in between the 6 years that he was searching for Rick. Now, a lot of people in the fandom might have an issue with this, and a lot of people are going to like it, I think, because Leah, she's an amazing character. I think Lynn Collins, who's the actress who plays her, is very good. I think she did an amazing job in this episode today. And I just like the dynamic between Leah and Daryl and just how they interact with each other because they're very similar. Now, you also have to realize that Leah and Carol are slightly similar in their own ways as well because they made that very clear with the whole fishing scene that they kind of replicated with Carol and with Leah in the episode because they did jump around with time a lot in this, like I said. So in present day, you had Carol doing the exact same things that Leah was doing before. And obviously that was on purpose. It was meant to show that Leah was that person that had all of Carol's good qualities and all the things that Daryl likes about Carol, but someone who he could actually be with because they both have trust issues and that's kind of what makes them match up together. I think they are very similar in how they were brought up and what they were dealing with when all this was going on. They were both living out there alone. They had both lost somebody, which I'll get into a little bit more with what Daryl said about Rick in this episode because it hit you right in the feels, I will say that. Leah's backstory also hits you a little bit as well because you find out that she lost her son. She had to deal with that, and she's also just been living with the dog ever since because the dog was born on the same day that the son died. So, you know, she's taking care of the dog and just living out there by herself because she doesn't want to be around anybody. She is just in a very bad headspace, and that's why she reacts the way she does when Daryl first shows up. And that's one main way that they can relate to each other because Daryl is also out there searching for Rick, which is somebody who he lost, and he does bring him up, and he calls him his brother. She asks him, "Who did you lose?" And he says, "I lost my brother, and I can't find the body." And so Leah kind of grasps the whole situation that Daryl's just out there because he can't accept that Rick is gone. And obviously she's having a lot of trouble accepting her son's death too. And so that's why she's alone out there. So that's why they're very similar in what their motives are for why they live the way that they do and how they cope with their problems. So yeah, you kind of got to see Daryl and Leah's relationship grow from when they first met each other all the way to when they really spent a lot of time together. And that was over the course of like 5 time jumps and a total of, I think, like 3 years that they spent together. Obviously, a lot of the early couple of years, they didn't really spend together, but those last 10 months, they were actually really together, and Daryl was living in that cabin. At least that's what we got from what we saw in the episode. It's rough, though, because Daryl and Leah's relationship does end in this episode on a kind of rough argument, but in the end, Daryl ends up changing his mind about what he wants because he can't decide if he wants to keep searching for Rick or if he wants to try and move forward with Leah because they can't move forward together if they're both stuck in the past, living their life around things that they can't do anything about. And Daryl's not going to make any leeway with searching for Rick because he's been doing it for years and he has found nothing besides Rick's gun, and that's about it. I think he knew deep down that he wasn't going to find the body. That's the point that Leah's trying to tell Daryl, is that he doesn't know when to stop. Which, if you pay attention to Daryl's lines to Carol later on in the episode, he tells her the exact same thing, because they have their own argument, which I'll get into later. But Daryl decides at first that he doesn't know what he wants, so he goes back to his little shack in the woods, and he stays there for about 3 months before he decides to go back to Leah's cabin and try and tell her that he wants to be with her. And when he gets there, all he finds is the dog, and he finds the picture frame of Leah and her son without the picture in it, so the picture's gone. She took all of her stuff, and what we're getting from this is that she left. Now that raises many questions as to what exactly happened to her, why she left, why did she leave the dog, and what happened to make her do this? Because she emphasized a lot that she really cared about the dog because it was born on the day her son died. So, she was taking care of that dog. So I don't think that she would necessarily just leave it. I think something might have happened, but obviously we don't know what. But the fact that they leave the door open for us finding her eventually does tell me that she's definitely going to be back on the show. I don't think she's just a one-episode character. They would not do something like that. So I think she's definitely going to be back later on. I'd say either later this season or early season 11 for sure. But it will just be interesting to see because, as you know, Daryl was kind of building somewhat of a relationship with Connie. So when she comes back around, is Daryl going to get with her and then Leah's going to show up later on? Who knows? Because that could create some real relationship drama on the show. Something we don't really see very often as much anymore. That was more of a season 1 and 2 thing for sure between Rick, Shane, and Lori. So I guess these are things that we're just going to have to find out as we move on. But in general, things aren't looking too good for Daryl and Carol anyways because of their argument right at the end of the episode. Now, I think this was a very much needed argument. I think they've kind of been waiting for this for a while. Daryl's had a lot of built-up feelings that he's had to express because he's not too happy with what Carol's done recently. Just like he wasn't able to stop back in the day searching for Rick, she couldn't stop trying to get revenge on Alpha for Henry's death. And that ended up leading to what Daryl thinks is Connie's death, even though she's still alive. And so they just have a lot of built-up feelings they had to talk to each other about. And, he tells her that she's always trying to run from her problems, just like she tried to do between season 9 and 10 when she took off on the boat. But Daryl wanted her to stay back with him, and now he regrets doing that. At least that's what he says, because I know he probably doesn't exactly mean that. They're both just kind of upset in the moment. But yeah, I think Daryl and Carol are definitely going to be okay. I think, like I said, this argument was needed. I think it's going to help them move forward to try and build their friendship a little bit more stronger as they go, because Daryl and Carol have had this really strong friendship all the way back since season 4 and 5, I'd say, is when they really started to build it more. We've all always wondered, are they eventually going to get together? Is Daryl and Carol finally going to be a thing? Or Carol, Caryl, as all the fandom calls it? I guess we'll really have to see. I think eventually, maybe in the end, it's possible. But I also really think that they are just best friends. I think that's all they're going to stay for a while. And I think they're trying to tell us that by bringing this new person in on the show, Leah, for Daryl, because we've all always wondered, is Daryl eventually going to be with somebody? Because, he was never in the right headspace to do it, and finding somebody that's kind of in the same place he's at is really going to help him be able to do that, and I can't wait to see it actually happen. I can't wait for Leah to come back. I hope you guys like her as well. I'm pretty interested to see what you guys think about her, so definitely let me know in the comments, because I think the fandom is going to have a lot of mixed feelings, definitely, about Daryl being with somebody other than Carol, or Connie, because I know a lot of people like him and Connie together now. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give this episode a solid 8 out of 10, because I do wish also that there was some things that they really focused a little bit more on in this episode, especially things that had to do with Rick. I think they definitely should have put more emphasis on Daryl searching for Rick and stuff like that. That's just how I feel. I also think they did give us a decent amount. He was out there for a while. There really wasn't too much else that they could show us. I mean, all Daryl was really doing for a couple of years was walking through the woods just searching for him. So at the end of the day, we saw what we saw, and I'm happy for what we got, and I hope you guys are as well. And overall, I am very happy with these 2 episodes that we've gotten so far. We have 4 more to go this season, and then we're going to have to wait until this summer for The Walking Dead season 11, which is also another big thing that I didn't make a separate video about, but I probably should have, was that season 11 is actually premiering this summer and not in the fall, because we saw that in a little teaser trailer that they gave us, and it's really awesome to see that, because it definitely changes up how they're going to be scheduling these 24 episodes. Originally, I thought they were going to do 8, 8, and 8, but it looks like they're going to do 12 and 12 is my guess now. They're probably going to do the first 12 episodes, a mid-season break, then the next 12. So season 11 is going to be over with a little bit earlier than we thought it was originally going to be, so that's interesting. But yeah, guys, I will say though, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like on it. Also subscribe for more Walking Dead stuff. I'm going to be uploading reviews for every episode, including season 11 as well, and I'll be going over all the important information from Fear the Walking Dead and World Beyond as well. And with that being said, thank you all for watching the video. I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.